I think StreamYard has done something I call messing with success. That's probably a mistake. By creating all these new like things. I don't know why you have Husky Hoops up here in the corner. We're not on Husky Hoops. We yeah. You know how they changed the whole Derek, they changed the like they give you these multiple different options look wise. I think that's messing with some of the stuff a little bit, in my opinion. I don't know. It was perfectly fine the way it was before, where we could just choose portrait or landscape. It was perfectly fine with me. All right, we have a great podcast today. I'm here at Coach Schumann. I'm with Coach D. As always, he's on my left today. As always, it's we never know which spot we're going to be in. And to my right is Coach Quesenberry. And Coach is really one of the fast rising speed and strength guys. He's with Ravenwood High School, I think, out in Nashville, if I'm not mistaken.
Right, south of Nashville. Yep,
south of Nashville. And he's really doing some fantastic things in that space. A lot of the sprint-based football world, which has become a quite hot topic, not just in football and sports, but on our show. We've had a lot of guys from that area, that space as well, which is really cool. And Coach also has a training facility called Brand X as well, where he's training individual athletes. So, Coach, it's great to have you on the show.
Appreciate it, guys. Glad to be here.
Hopefully you're able to hear us throughout the show. I know technical difficulties sometimes are the norm when you do these non face-to-face podcasts. So it's great to have you on. You're doing some phenomenal things. If you could kind of just go into your background in this space, maybe yourself as an athlete and coach, and then kind of, you know, the genesis of where you are now and from a training standpoint.
Right. So, you know, growing up, I'm a 70s kid, so that ages me a little bit now. I'm 51 years old. So I grew up still in the generation where we developed physical preparedness by just being a kid, right? Being outside, whatever season it was, we played that sport. You found the kids in your neighborhood and you played the game. So I grew up with the big three: football, basketball, baseball, and carried that up till high school, and then locked into football and track. So I've always been with those two main sports. Went into college with the plan to coach. I wanted to coach high school football. I got my physical education teaching degree, so I went that route and got into coaching and started coaching right away. So I coached high school football from around 2000 to 2015. And the whole time with coaching, I always loved the off season, right? And the training aspect of the game, as much as I did playing the game. Even when I played, I was a quarterback, but I still loved training. I would get up on Saturday mornings after Friday night games. I'd go to the gym. I was just a gym rat. So I thought what I always enjoyed. But I got around 2015, and my son was coming of age, and I always said, I'm not going to miss those years. You know, as a parent, I don't know if you guys are parents, but you can't go back, right? So I didn't want to be at the high school all these long hours, and him starting to start his football journey. I wanted to be a part of it. So I transitioned to, I would help coach youth football, and I wanted to be better at training athletes. So I started going down, you know, the rabbit holes, seeking out certifications. I've always been growth mindset, even in teaching, even in physical education. I didn't want to be one of those that, hey, what we did the first year, we just recycled, and I get to 20 years and teaching 20 years, but still 1 year of experience, right? So you mentioned the Brand X. So I've run a facility here, Brand X Nashville, for many years. It transitioned to a more private sector when I came back to Ravenwood, which I'm going to get to here in a moment. But the Brand X method, they have a coaching certifications and programs. They do a phenomenal job with training youth and teen. Unlike, you know, a lot of programs, they try to take what you do with adults or well-developed athletes and water it down. They are great from a preschool age through kindergarten, elementary to middle school, high school, because, an athlete changes. You could work with a sixth grade athlete and develop their hinge and squat pattern, and then their femur grows an inch or two, right? And you're starting over. You have to retrain that pattern. So I think they do a fantastic job of how to teach movement. And that really set my base for training athletes in the movement realm of prioritizing how they move first and foremost. So back, not to jump around too much on you guys, but back to coaching. The current high school I'm in, I was here back in 2013, 14, 15, those last 2 years of coaching. And the head coach at the time, when he left, he went to start a new school. That's when I transitioned out. He came back in 2021 he coached in Florence, Alabama, came back to be the head coach, and he wanted me to come with him. Now, he wanted me to do what I did before, coach and train, but now I've switched full gears that I wanted to be in the weight room with student athletes all day, even general population, whatever it may be, and I would be the football, at the time, strength and conditioning coach, which now has evolved to, we just call it strength and speed. So it's, you're looking back, like the way we did things in my early coaching days, and even at Ravenwood the first time, we were old school. We were in the weight room, we were going to get strong, and we thought that would take care of everything else. And that's the thing, when I speak to people, I'm not this like young 25-year-old saying this is how I've done it the old school way, right? So we did the old school conditioning. We would run the 10-1-10s, the gassers, have them bear crawling because, a lot of times we got to, tear them down to build them up. You got to make them tougher. Well, when I came back, I started diving I came across the Feed the Cat, Holler. And like anything, you start going down these rabbit holes of better ways to do it. And everything he talks about, his principles and base of where he is, was all that old school thinking that I grew up. I was coached like that. I went through it as a player, and I coached players because, football is such a traditionalist sport. It's like, well, that's the way we did it. That's the way it's got to be done.
And hey, Dirk, can you hear me? Can you hear me, Dirk? Okay, hold on a second. Your sound is not coming. Oh, here. Oh, you know what? You're muted. Let me unmute you. Oh, wait. For some reason, you're muted. Derek, speak real quick. Oh, see, you're muted. Hold on.
Has got me back.
I got you back. Yeah. I got you back, Coach.
I'm not hearing you. You're sputtering on me.
I'm sputtering on you. Do you hear me now? I think you would dive.
Are you there?
We are there.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Somehow yours keeps going. There you go. You're I think there's something.
Is it the format that we have? Like whoever's talking.
I think it happens to be.
I don't.
Because my connection's fine. Yours seems fine. I think it's his connection.
I've been fine. Oh, okay. Because this is a couple of days. StreamYard, buddy. Hey, we would have to have a conversation.
Yeah, like it's almost like right.
Come on, dude.
I think this happens to be his. I think it just happens to be his Wi-Fi.
And look,
you're in the school. I think in the school there's always that you know what I mean.
I usually just
we got you, Coach.
Are we back?
Yes, we're back.
Yeah, you're good. Don't worry about it.
Can you hear me?
You're right there. It's kicked me out twice.
Yeah, it might be.
Yeah, it's doing it again.
Hey, baby, just call. Da, da, da.
Trying to think if maybe I can. I'm gonna try something here, Derek. I'm gonna try something.
Go ahead, boy.
You know what I'm
Might
gonna
as
try?
well.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna remove like some of these other. Let's see if this makes it faster. And,
Oh, remove like some of the other options.
like,
Since there's
like,
like 50 million, yeah, like 50 million formats to what it is. I don't know. I
like I,
wonder
rem-
what do like other people use? Like, what are some of the other options?
I did. You know, I believe it or not, I already had removed all those formats. What I just did is I got rid of Twitch and I got rid of. I just took it off.
Oh, I got you.
Let's see if this helps. If that helps at all. Hey,
You got
Coach.
me?
Yeah. Okay. It might have been his Wi-Fi. Yeah, inside there. Yeah, that might have
So
been it.
yeah, I just
Yeah.
walked outside. So I don't know if you ever had a walking podcast, but we can do that.
Oh yeah. Well,
We,
listen, you're in
we
the
can,
schools. When you're in the school system, Coach,
yeah.
we are used to the school system gracing, those walls.
Our
Those walls,
Oh
protection
yeah.
windows.
those
Oh yeah.
walls are pretty. And I haven't been to school confession in 5 years now. So since 2021. So but yeah, we hear you good, Coach. We can hear you good.
All right, good. Yeah, it's at least it's like 60 degrees today. It was 20s here Monday, which is typical Tennessee weather, but yeah.
You were diving into how you were an old school coach. I mean, me and you were the same age, so
Yeah. Okay.
I remember getting into coaching thinking the same way, and I was a football track athlete in high school and played football in college, but my father's a longtime track coach, still track coach at 84 years old, and
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
but
still
he's
at
gone through the whole gamut himself, where I ran underneath him when it was old school, and then as
Yeah.
he started to evolve and what he's done in the last 10 years, with him doing speeds up, and so we came across a lot of stuff that you guys talk about with Tony Holler. Like I had already started moving towards that. I didn't have a term for it. You know what I'm saying? But like I kind of started to move away from a lot of the like burying guys and all that kind of stuff because I thought it was diminishing returns. But I basically started to apply a lot of like the track philosophy. So of really getting to be a peak sprinter, and I was trying to apply it to football because I wanted to be able to peak in the championship. Obviously, you have to play good
Right.
early on, but to try to get us better towards as the end of the season and still have people available and less injuries and all those kind of things. So I know exactly where you're talking from. Derek does as well. So I won't let you continue kind of where you're going, but that's where you were as far as speaking wise.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So yeah, leaving off there, starting to study Feed the Cats, and the approach. And you know how it is, like anything, you can see something, watch it, hear it, and some things just make sense. And I think Tony does a great job of breaking it down, of how it works, why it works. And so what we did was in 2022, it was right before spring ball, having that relationship with the head coach. Like I said, we went back not only when we coached together here and back in 2013, 14, we coached at the rival high school together from '09 to 12. So we go, and then our kids went to the same daycare starting back in like 2003. So we had that relationship, which, as you guys know, if you're in the sports performance realm, you have to have a relationship with the coach because it's not just what we do, it's what they do, their philosophy, how they practice, the week schedule. We have to be collaborating and in sync, or it doesn't matter. Like I could ruin the athlete, they could ruin the athlete, or together we can, ruin it, or we can contradict each other, which happens a lot of times too. So I went to him with the idea, and it's
Mhm.
great when you have this. He's like, if you believe it, I believe it. Like he didn't need to hear the research, the studies. He goes, let's do it, which is great. A lot of people aren't that fortunate to have someone to do that. And what he
No.
noticed, and this is what I tell teams, what he noticed right away was starting with the speed training on the front end of practice, and we're talking, in season 2 days a week. Just like strength coaches know, it potentiated them, right? It made them practice better. It lit up that central nervous system so that when they went to individual drills, the position coaches noticed a huge difference right away in skill acquisition, the juice they brought to practice. Instead of going through the same mundane dynamic warm-up that, most of them half-ass anyway, we were doing things with intention, trying to develop coordination, athleticism through the speed drills, and he was sold. So it was a good time to start it with spring ball. So of course that changed our programming and our approach. From that moment forward, we were going to be a sprint-based type program and prioritize speed. It's not the majority, it's just a priority, right? And so since spring of 22 to here we are in 2025, can you still hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, and I can tell you real quick. So when we first started testing them, because back the old school, we all said we did speed training. No, we didn't. We just ran, guys. First of all, we weren't recording, ranking, publishing. So and the rest intervals were never there, which happens in strength training too. That may be a whole nother topic. But we noticed we had about 10 guys that could run over 20 miles per hour. This summer we had 49. Fast forward 3 years now. And then now even in season, we're right under 60. I think we're at 58. Because doing this approach, even in season, to at least maintain, not drop, our guys get faster.
There's no doubt about it, and that's obviously your results are speaking for themselves as well. I mean, I think you guys are 11-0 right now, or having a great season,
yes,
football wise. But there's no doubt, like that's the thing I noticed. I started applying it with Derek's high school started applying it. I started applying a lot more focused in the sprint-based football world and that front-end sprinting. And I noticed it with my son's youth team. We're doing it with the grand experiment. We took
right.
I watch what everybody else is doing around me in the youth program, and we do nothing like that. And from like we bought rugby tackling pads that are different than what you see. So we could improve their tackling skills the right way. And then,
sorry, you're cutting out on me a little bit here.
Yep, the speed training aspect of the front end sprinting, and I think that it makes a monumental difference. And we started purchasing the things that are to help to be able to time the guys. But it makes a monumental difference, and over time, obviously, it really is where it makes the big difference. But it's a mindset too, because you need like my assistants all bought into it. They're still in the process of buying into it. You know what I mean? Like they saw the results this year, but in by year we started doing it 2 years ago. This year I went all in. Like I mean. All the sprint based in the front, like nothing at the end. There's nothing, unless we were going to do for fun a tug of war or something for the kids. You know what I mean? Because they're young, stuff like that, like little games based stuff because they enjoy that. But
right.
The training aspect and development, monumental difference. Like we look fast. Like you could, we had some fast kids, but everybody played fast because of it.
Right.
And it made it a lot better from a performance standpoint, and they're excited now to go into the off season when we work their skill stuff, because even though we'll be working football skill stuff once a week with the young kids, when we get to December, we'll add the front end speed stuff. We'll test them in the beginning, like we'll test them throughout. So that whole philosophy is just it's a phenomenal methodology for helping athletes. First of all, embracing the idea of running. Like, who doesn't like to run fast, right? Like, who doesn't?
Yeah, especially kids. Yeah,
it's fun. It's fun to run fast, and that's the whole point of it is like the competition aspect of it, the running fast, the ranking public. What like because you guys are having such a great season. I really want to dive into like how did you start putting the pieces together in your training methodology? Kind of what was your genesis along the way? Like how did you implement it? You know, you had a guy to let you go all in on it, but how did you implement it?
Yeah. Well, I was going to touch on too a couple of things you said there was at first, like the head coach, yes, we had not every assistant coach was on board. And so talking about that of how I went about it, typically
hell
what
no.
we do is, and even
No.
players, like, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, yeah. So
Yeah,
even
you're
like
good. Go ahead,
coaches,
coach.
okay, yeah. So with the assistant coaches, players, if you think of the athlete or when you grew up or in general, they're used to doing so much in a practice and being run in the ground, they're always holding back, right? So teaching them that no, we're only going to do 2 or 3 max effort sprints. Yes, we're going to stand around for 4 or 5 minutes between, and how to teach them how to do it with intention. Now, what helps that is, yeah, you have them on the lasers, even or if you don't afford that, you got them on a stopwatch, or we're blessed, we have catapults, you got them on GPS, whatever it may be. And when you
Oh,
rank it, they don't want to be last. Well, now the intent's there, right? Same thing with a broad jump, with a vertical jump, it doesn't matter. But what I found was, again, like I was coming from always being the weight room guy, like strength coaches, well, we got to be in the weight room. I would start, and let's talk like off season right now, 2022. I would start out on the field with the bigs, and do the speed, and they would come into the weight room. I would follow them in, and then our skill groups would waterfall in. So the assistant coaches would run those groups, and then they would wave into me to the weight room because we have our weight room size for the number of players we have. I have to do multiple groups. It's just that's our setup. But what I found out was I would program, strict, specific rest intervals for what we were doing. And players, they have no filter. They don't. I was finding out certain coaches weren't doing that, or certain coaches were adding more reps, or they thought this is stupid. We're not going to get better doing. You know what I mean? You have those
Yep.
difference in opinions
yeah.
because the staff is who it is. Now, at the same time, the head coach makes those changes over time. So that first year is really you're trying to like lay the foundation, and it's like anything. If you bring a new freshman in, their training age is 0. You first got to build their base, right? You got to teach them how up. Maybe you're doing tempo lifts, and you don't do anything explosive or powerful per se until they know how to train. Well, the speed's the same thing. They had to learn how to properly speed train, how this all works out, how to do the speed drills. Our kids couldn't skip. I mean, it was a joke. But over time, that obviously developed, which is what I love about it. Hold on.
We got you.
I say, okay, I thought my AirPod was dying. But, it develops that athleticism and coordination. So that first year going into 2023, we went 9-4. Now, 9-4, our 4 losses, one was to the same team twice, regular season, and then in the quarterfinals went 13-1. The other 2 were both 15-0 and state champions at their level because one was our 6A and one was 2 levels down. If you've ever heard of Alcoa in Tennessee, they're a powerhouse. They've won literally 21 of the last 23 state championships. So that's the pedigree we're talking about, which we went there last year and beat them at their place, which was their first home loss in over 20 years. And then they finished the year 14-1 and state champions. So anyway,
That's
and now
cool.
last year we go 13-1, lost in the state semis by 3, a game we probably should have won. We actually get them here this week in the second round, sitting at 11-0. So you can do the math on there. That's 33-5 out of the last 38. So like anything, if you win, people think everything works. If you're losing, they think nothing works. You know what I mean? So we're real to that. Like in
Oh
my
yeah.
whole approach with training always is, it doesn't matter if I'm with basketball, girls soccer. I'm trying to build a better athlete, and every coach will describe their best athletes as fast and explosive, right? And
Correct.
then get these athletes strong, we're making them more robust, and it's bulletproofing them more. I always use the thing, strength training is like having your seatbelt and your airbags. You hope you don't need it, but it protects you, right? Well, strength is the same thing. It's going to protect you on the field. But if I've got a 180-pound receiver and a 300-pound nose tackle caves in on his knee, he could still tear an ACL. But being stronger may limit that to a sprained MCL. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I probably got a little off subject here, but, but
Yeah,
everything,
no,
yeah, it all ties together. You know what I mean?
it all ties together. And I think what's
Yeah.
what's also really interesting that when you start applying this, when I watch other coaches coach, so when my son goes to a different team, that I'm
Right.
not coaching, and I watch what they do, 90% of them are still doing, you know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about.
Oh, yeah.
I'm watching basketball, they're doing gassers till
Yep.
and I'm in repair mode on my own son.
Yeah.
So from a development standpoint, I have to work around this, right? So what ends up happening? So I have I just got the OVR system,
Right. Yeah. Love it.
I have these things, so we're able to. We're just starting it, but I've been doing this stuff with him before. But I thought your point was really valuable, how where you brought up a kid might start to get the stuff speed wise, all of a sudden his femur grows, and now you're starting over again, right? That happened. That happened with my son. He was 4'8", and in 6 months he went to 5 feet, and he's only 10 years. He's only 10 years old. Going to be 11 in 6 months, but he went from being super fat, one of the fastest kids, to all of a sudden was a little awkward, right?
Yeah.
And now I've been able to work him back over the last year. He had Severs. I had to work him through that.
Right.
Now I see that he's starting to come around a little bit. A whole year, by the way. It's starting to come around. Now, he played sports all the way through, but now he's starting to come around. I'm watching him. He's starting to move back the way he started to look. Not only did he gain 4 inches, but he went from a skinny kid, because he's always to put together, right?
Yeah.
We went from a skinny rail to a put together kid, which also changes your gait and all that kind of stuff running wise. He's working. But it's interesting because when I see another guy work, and I drive my wife crazy with this. I drive her nuts with it, because obviously me and Derek do all these podcasts, and we have guys like yourself on who get it. And I watch a practice, and I'll just walk out. She's like, why'd you walk out? I said, you know what? I said, I'd rather not know.
Yeah.
I'd rather him tell me after that they ran 1 million gassers.
Yeah.
And then me just figure out, how am I going to work around this? What am I going to do? Work around it. How much rest am I going to need to give him? What am I going to have to do? How can I repair the areas that I know that are so? Because when I see it in person, I want to say something, but nobody will listen to me. You know what I'm saying? They're going to be like, who's this guy? Who is this guy? Right? Only within my world can I control that. Right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where you see it, and I want to be like, hey, coach, can you start looking at this stuff, basketball wise, what guys are doing, or another sport coach, what do you, start looking at some of this stuff, because you're coaching kids, you know what I mean? And football wise, people would look at me in football. I'm telling you, because in the youth program, you know how this is, because you have, so all the different.
That's why I coached the youth. I couldn't do it. I couldn't watch.
I can't watch it. I have a hard time. People ask my, hey, can he come play on this basketball team? I'm like, he's already on enough things where I don't know exactly what they're doing. I want to try and keep him with some of the stuff where I do know what they're doing. And by the way, the coaches, they're good guys. It's not like
You only know what you know, or what you grew up knowing. Because, like I said, I did it. I did all that with teams.
Most guys do, right, Coach? Most guys coach how they were coached. That's just kind of what it is.
Yeah.
And like you said,
and
not
that's
many people are lifelong learners.
Yeah. I mean,
we're all guilty in some way, shape, or form. We've just been willing to look at things and tweak things and want to get better and want to learn something else. That's the other thing that I've seen, as I've progressed in my career, is a lot of guys, dude, they just want to stay the same. They just want to be the same thing every year in, out, and expect to be successful that way. And that's not really how it works. You got to tweak things. constantly.
Yeah.
You got to want to get better. You got to go out, and especially with the resources we have now through social media.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean,
No
like,
excuse. No
and the
excuse. Yeah.
willingness to share, absolutely not. So
Yeah.
that gets extremely frustrating when you're around guys so narrow-minded in their thinking, or they just refuse to change or adapt, and
Right.
to help their athletes get better and progress in the future. That's a very frustrating thing.
Yeah, and as coaches too, with so much to your point out there, we now have to develop a good filter, right? You got to be able to cipher and filter through, because there's a lot of bad stuff still too, and that's what these kids see on their TikTok videos or Instagram reels, and and like to what you
Oh,
guys
yeah.
mentioned, I get multiple athletes in the classes I teach, and again, I'm training them, preparing them as athletes, and the things I hear their team's doing, and it could be through a sport coach, or they've outsourced, and then same thing, I'm trying to help and correct and work around all the bad training they get.
That's exactly what it is. So it's really, there's like two parts to it, right? Like when you're in control, right, you're able to really run them through the program the way you want them to. Then the hard part is outside of what they're doing with you, right? Like, so stuff they don't tell you. Maybe they go to this wide receiver coach, right? And right, you're in Brentwood, right? Or is that where you're?
Right. Yeah,
right.
Brentwood,
So you got kids that'll go and spend some money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're going to go to a receiver coach. They're going to go to a O-line, D-line coach. They're going to go and they're going to go and do some things there. And you want to know, like I always tell the kids, like, it's okay. Tell me information. I need to know informationally what you're doing, because it's when you have your own son, or I have my own son, I actually know where he's going, and then I could go, okay, I could adapt what he's doing, back off at rehab essentially where needed. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh yeah.
Like sometimes you're rehab. Like
recover.
I send my kid to therapy. I originally started doing it because he had severs, and we were in season, and his feet were bothering him, and I just send him now once a week, no matter what, because there's all the stuff he's doing outside of what I do with him. Like the guys are running gases. I'm like, we need to go to therapy tomorrow. Like she knows you. She'll do the cupping. She'll do the things that are to build you back up a little bit, and then But it's really interesting, because that was the thing that my eyes got open the most, was I started seeing everything that everybody else was doing that was I probably did back in the day. But now I look, I'm like, oh my God, these things are crazy. It was the same thing.
We all here did it. Yeah.
It was the same thing with tackling, and I would liken it similar to tackling in football, right?
Survived.
Right,
we're just trying to help the next generation. Yeah.
That's exactly it. But it's like tackling, right? We all used to think, okay, we get good at tackling by just clobbering each other, right? And
we used to coach our face mask right in the sternum, like it's a spear going through their neck. And I mean, that was the way we did it.
I tackled in college. Like, my favorite thing was when a guy would face up on me.
Bury your face in his chest. That's right.
I would go right down the middle. Yep. And and you weren't going anywhere then.
Nope.
But we taught. But I started teaching. Like, I went
in prison.
Yes.
Yes.
I went and got certified on the what was the tackling
US
method?
Tackling.
What is it, Derek? What was the tackling?
You did
method?
the USA tackling, right?
No,
they switched to like the tackle.
No,
like
it's
the Seahawks roll it, where the rugby style.
It's no, but it's pure rugby. It's I can't think of it. I can't believe it slipped my mind the name of it. But basically, it was the rugby style, but not the roll. So they go away from the roll only if it's only if you're in a chase mode. So sideways if you're chasing, or you're in pursuit from behind. Right. But other than that, but you're really going. You're going through the hip. It's near foot, near shoulder, head on the outside, and not until I went through that whole course. I got 2-level certification on it.
Yeah,
I started teaching it with my kids. I couldn't believe how well we tackled this year. It was the first time I fully applied it. Right, Couldn't believe how well we tackled. Guys, there are times when guys were having picture perfect, exactly how they showed it.
Yeah.
But I bought the rugby pads that had like the bent-in style, so you'd be able to get the same force, the one on the ground. I bought all these different things for them, and it was the same thing. Like I looked around and watched other people teach tackling, and I was like, oh my god, I'm like, I can't believe. And people are like, how come I can't tackle? And so we and we're not able to. It was happening. It's the same thing in the speed side of it, like. And now I notice everything that is crazy, like the excessive passers.
It's just what you know, and that's that growth mindset. There's things with, plyometrics it may be, or a certain lift is, we should always be trying to do what's best for the athletes, right? And the kids. And then it's funny you say that because I have athletes in class, if they still go to a local Globo gym, they said they can't even look at people because they know what bad form is now because they know how, but they didn't know before. So they know when someone's rounding their back in an RDL or their head's an extension, whatever it may be. But they didn't know that before because, again, like you said, and these coaches, I'm with you. They're good people. They're giving their time. And I never want to badmouth them.
Right.
The only time I have an issue is if I offer to help and they're so standoffish about it or take offense to it. Then I'm like, well, whatever, dude. But, but, yeah. So I don't, yeah. But hey, guys, I only have like a minute.
Sure.
I mean, I'm happy to do a part 2. I don't feel like I really gave you all I can give you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, now we could talk for 5 hours. I don't know if you ever want that. Because true quick story, I did like a consultation for a school in Houston. Tony Holler connected me with a guy, and I talked to their whole football staff. They had me up on their big screen in meeting room. I think I was supposed to talk for 55 minutes, and I kid you not, I didn't realize it. And the coach told me we were 3 hours deep. I didn't even know it. Like 3, and it was a Friday night. My wife's wondering why I'm not ready to go get dinner. But I truly am passionate about it. Like I'll talk all day if you want, but I just have to have the time to do it.
Yeah. Let's do a part 2. Good, Derek will set it up for you, and we'd love to because you're one of the guys that really is just doing amazing things, and we definitely want to dive in a little more. Obviously, we dived in a little bit on philosophy, but we'll let you run, and then we'll schedule part 2. But it's great meeting you, dude. We're huge fans of what you're doing, and
I appreciate it.
It's
and we could set up if time works, maybe where I have a better connection, and we won't have because that cost us some time on the front end, I guess.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. All right, Coach, have a great day.
All right, you guys too. Appreciate it. All right. See you. Bye.
Than's, Coach.
All right, so we got a taste.
I didn't know we had such a tight window.
Yeah. You know what it is? The school. Well, that's okay. The school thing. Sometimes that's if he has a class or something. Which I didn't. I guess he's still a phys ed teacher, right? So, but I wasn't.
Yeah. Well, like we've talked to some of these guys, right? Like they carry that title of strength and conditioning coach within the building, but they also, you know what I mean? Some of those guys do still like teach, right? Like some of those guys when we talk like from what was it, like Flossmoor, right? Like those guys still have some classes that kind of work. But I will tell you this, I don't know how much research you did on Ravenwood High School itself. Like I believe last spring, Tony ran one of his football track consortiums there. Dude, like they have I'm pretty sure they have that, like the outdoor pavilion type practice facility, you know what I'm saying? Where it's open on all sides, but covered over the top and whatnot. Like in the South, like a lot of those guys do for, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Like because of the weather can kind of whatever that I mean, Tony was all like, whoa, like this is a different type of, what I'm
yeah.
He's obviously part of that. He's part of that whole group.
Yeah. I think that me and you should probably get a topic that you like. And I already have the topic that I would want. I'm going to give it to Tony if next time. And since I'm going to move the middle school showcase, I think back a week, and I talked to Callie, a couple other guys, because there's a lot of those AYF. And by the way, high school kids are still playing, right? That's their last weekend, I think. So, I'll move it.
Yeah, that's state finals. That's state final week.
Yeah. So I'll move that back 1 week, and that way, we'll have you two there, and I'll just figure out where I'm going to host it. I know where I can host it if I know a place I can host it at if I don't have the other places. So, because they're trying to get me to do more stuff. But what I think is really good is the when you look at down south, and it's amazing because Tony's doing it in Illinois. I'm sure there's a lot. I wonder. I don't know. You would know better than me, actually. Are there guys in New Jersey that are applying it outside of like our little world? I don't think there's many.
I don't think so. Not at all. I really don't. I really don't think that. I don't think it's even, you know what I mean? Like, I really have no idea, but I don't think that there is anybody in New Jersey. And here's the other thing too. Some guys might be implementing some aspect of it, but they're definitely not all in. Or if guys are even doing it, like they might not even know that there's a title to it. You know what I'm saying? Like they might not know that there's an even, you know what I'm saying? Now look, like we know when it comes to like certain, like, dude, there's a wing tee group, right? Of guys that just run the wing tee and they're, you know what I mean? Like in that type of way, this is different because it's like off-season track. Like I would be, I mean, it's a great question. I'll ask my track coach because like, you know what I mean? Like he's kind of into it. Like, I don't know if there's.
You might have track guys doing it.
Maybe, you know what I mean? I don't know. It's
like if you were to listen to like my father got on here and spoke about how he trains sprinters. That's it, there's no term to it. He's doing that. Like he does long breaks. He does, accelerations and all these different type of things, which have been really effective with his.
He's been doing this for God knows how long.
But he changed.
Yeah. Hey, you want to know what's funny?
Yeah.
You know what? My track guy. What? You know what school's doing it? You'll laugh.
Oh, who?
Robson.
Interesting. Well, that's not surprising. Why, did they have something on their side about it, or somebody?
No, he just knows. He knows the guy.
Oh! He said, yeah. That makes sense. But if you notice, the schools that are doing it are a little bit like, for the most part, in the early stages. I would say the early stages of like widespread is the higher affluent places, right, where they probably can get a little bit more of this equipment too. Like now, it's interesting because I put yesterday on because I told you we do like what do you call it? Trap bar deadlift. I have that Troy does that, right, and it's been very helpful. By the way, I'm not even talking about like just being stronger. Just some of the things that like core wise that he needs as a kid, you know what I mean? Getting like, so, but what's interesting is I measured with OVR. I put the measurements on it, Derek.
My guy said that Rumson actually flew Tony out. Not surprising either.
Not surprising.
I mean, because anything they do, they go all in, right? And of course, we just talked about this, right? Like it's a sports focused type of building on top of it, right? So, I'm sure all of their coaches are on board. Again, you see it like we just talked about Ravenwood, like those are that are gonna go and do extra. You know what I'm saying? Like we saw it firsthand in 2020 with COVID when, our guys couldn't do anything and these guys like basically had a full-blown gym in every one of their basements. You know what I'm saying? You're talking about for a football team, a smaller group size, but 20 to 20 with kids like signed up to play and do all those things. So, you see it and they have the ability to get, the lasers if they want, right? Or the whatever stuff that they need. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm sure there it's
have you seen the 1080 machine? Have you seen it? You know what it is?
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's a more inexpensive version.
We talked about his. Well, is his shred mill less or no? Is it more?
Shred mill's a different thing. Shred mill's the treadmill. That's like I want to say like 10,000 or something. The 1080 machine is $17,000. That's very expensive.
So it's just it's a fucking car.
It's a car. Okay. There's a company. The guy we had on yesterday, Coach Juice. I'm on Instagram. So obviously I've clicked in. It's amazing how these advertising things work. So I clicked on
mine are nonstop now, dude.
Yep. So it's a bad.
I don't know if I clicked on whatever. Yeah, I don't know if I don't know what I did.
So there's an Apex solution. Have you seen the Apex? So I watched. So there's an ad going on, and I noticed the guy in the Apex ad, and I'm like, son of a gun. I've seen this guy before, and I realized it was the guy we had on yesterday, Coach Juice. Coach Juice is the spokesperson for Apex, which is like a more inexpensive version of the 1080 machine. I'm probably gonna end up getting it because you could put it on like you could get
the
it
Apex
on
one you're saying.
Yeah, you could. It's $3,000, but you could put it on a monthly plan. You know what I mean? I wouldn't pay.
Of course,
I wouldn't pay $3,000. But the $17,000 one, I'm like, that's too crazy because the monthly will be too expensive even on that, right? So
yeah, because obviously, look on the on the Simply Faster site, and 1080 Sprint 2, 17.8, so it's actually 18. You know what I'm saying? Like, Jesus.
The other thing that will have to come down over time, like what was nice about OVR is relatively inexpensive to a lot of the other things, and it's giving you the same data. Maybe you're not getting the crazy reports but you have the data. Like so, I was saying is I put it on the trap bar deadlift when Troy was lifting, and we looked at what strength he was developing. So it tells you, Derek, it tells you how fast you're moving the bar. Okay. It tells you how fast you're moving the bar. It tells you then what your max output weight wise is. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. So it says, so let's say you're moving 50 pounds on a trap bar deadlift. All right. With a kid, like let's say he's doing 50 pounds and he moves it he moves it it's like 1 second, 1 milliliter per second, whatever it is, and 1.0, and then your output, let's say, was 150 pounds. So it's showing you your output that you're generating and how fast you're moving that output, right? And what you notice is the more power you generate, like let's say the output is higher, you're moving it a little bit slower. So there's like a balance to it, but it's really interesting because you're putting more force into the ground. I don't know if that makes sense, but
of course. Which is what a lot of these people talk about, right? Like, is how much? Who talked about that? Tony, I think, talked about that a lot, right? Like Villani, he talked about angles of your foot and all that when you hit, like to keep going and push off here and all that. Like, so you're getting all of that.
Yeah. So now I'm measuring that, right? So now next time we do it, like we do it twice a week, I'll measure it the next time. Okay. I could do that on the bench press as well, but we're really doing dumbbells, you know what I mean? So I'm probably not going to do that yet. He's just trying to get a base level of strength in that area. But the trap bar deadlift is a really good, it's an easy exercise to get that output. You know what I'm saying? It's an easy exercise to measure it. And there are there's a bunch of exercises on there that you could do it with. But it really, it's interesting because you could see, so you can literally, if you're doing the bench press, you could see the upper body, how explosive they are in the upper body, how explosive they are in the lower body. Yeah, how explosive they are. Like I was actually surprised at his output for once he usually when he does it, he's like I don't want to do it. That I'm like, we're gonna measure it, dude. He was pulling that thing up like because he wanted to get his numbers. I'm like, I thought you said you can't lift this amount. He was lifting it like it was nothing. Right? So that tells me that he wasn't really giving the effort, right? Because when it's measured, he could see a number. You can see a number. Now he wants to go, okay, what was my strength amount? Like how much was
I'm sorry. I'm just saying I saw that. And that's the whole rank, record, publish thing, right? Like I saw that on a whole different level when, something so simple as putting your maxes on a list on the board, right? Even though we do for the kids reference their percentages, but when you put those maxes up there and guys are on that list, nobody wants to be at the bottom of a list, dude. So now you start, here it is. Or, hey, we got broad jumps today, buddy. When I'm telling you like, hey, so it's like you're talking, hey, so and so came in the morning, what did he broad jump? Or hey, like they want to know, you know what I'm saying? And then you see like, hey, all right, you hit this, and then the next time we do it, coach, what was my note? Like they know, dude, hey coach, I was this last time, I got to get here. And to see those guys just because the guy in front of them is this, they'll jump that, and it's like, hey, that's why I think Tony talked about a lot too, right? Like when you test your vertical, nobody half-asses a vertical jump, right? Because it's like, dude, like you just don't, right? Like no matter what you do, you might jog. Nobody's going to jog. When you put a clock on it, nobody's jogging their 40. Nobody's out there going, not going full go. If that, you know what I mean? Like if that makes sense.
And you get a full-blown competition.
Dude, you get in competition mode.
You get in
competition mode. Even if you don't have that, look, even if you don't have that intrinsic, right? Like, look, that's what separates next level players from just average players is that internal drive together and like, I'm going to do it on my own. But now when you put it on a list, now it turns into an external motivation of like, shit, dude, I don't want to be at the bottom of that because, hey, we all know what it's like. You walk in that cafeteria. Hey, bro, what'd you broad jump today? Oh, I did. Changes it.
There's no it changes it, and the thing that's different when in football you measure them, you used to measure them once in a while. Now you can measure them every single time.
Day. Yep.
Every day you can see
what's the output of like, look, how fast were you moving that bar today? Not, you know what I mean? Not just, oh, we're testing maxes in a couple weeks. And no, dude, did you win every rep today? And how did you do? Hey, look, I just love that you could track it. Hey man, you had a game last night. You're coming in and working out today. Like, what is your output today? Or, hey, you're fresh. You're this. Like all of those little intricacies and outside variables, you can now start to track. Hey, man, you always give a half-assed effort on Wednesday. Like your lowest outputs are Wednesday. Why? Oh, well, Tuesday night, I got to watch my sister and I'm up late. I don't know. Shit like that you can start to track and really dive into like how things are working. You know what I mean? Within your program itself. Hey, all of our guys are low at this. All right, well, maybe we need to focus on this more, right? Or, you know what I mean? I think that's where technology and that type of stuff to now be able to like dive into it, dude, can benefit you or a program so much. Whereas, for years, you're just kind of guesstimating.
Well, that's exactly what it is. And you get the you're guesstimating. Absolutely. Like, and I haven't even gotten all my stuff yet because I'm still waiting on my
right. But that's what. But look, at least it's you know what I mean. Like like look, just for if you. Troy isn't gonna go and tell his buddies about, I was in the basement and I was like, you know how fast I was moving this bar, and they're gonna be like, what are you talking about, or whatever.
They won't even know.
That's what I'm saying.
We're doing stuff that, like, it's I have a broad jump mat in the house anyway, so we measure that. Like I could tell you,
I think that shit's awesome, dude.
I could tell you how that stuff. Like I could tell you when his foot got hurt, where we're not allowing him to jump anymore. He knows where he was before his foot got hurt, jumping wise, and he knows where he's gone back because we don't.
And he still wants, and he's obviously wants to get back to that. You know what I mean?
He's like, oh wow. He's like, my God. He's like, that's not good. I was like, yeah. Well, I said that's part of the process. And by the way, you're 25 pounds heavier now, right? So that's a big part of it. It's one of those things. But that's why you have to train and measure, and that's the thing that when you see.
That's why you have to. Yes, you have to track things, dude. You have to track numbers, trends, data. Like, look, and I'm a nerd, right? When it comes to that shit, like, I love numbers. I'm not very good at math or but I love tracking things. Like, I love graphs, all that kind of stuff, dude. Like the peaks and the valley, like all of that to like, you know what I mean? To now put it on paper and show kids, like, dude, look what happens when you do that, or just like how your performance becomes, whatever it is, when you do what you're supposed to do, or max effort, this or that. Like, I would love to, I think it would be extremely eye-opening, and you get a lot more buy-in, right, from the top down. Numbers and data that's actual rock hard, not just, hey, look at this guy, or hey, look, no, dude.
I want to show you a couple things that I have that are amazing. Okay, first toy of the day. This is because I'm sitting next to it. So this thing, remember I told you the rec method? The guy, you probably haven't been able to get a hold of me yet, but like this is the thing with the running. Okay.
Yeah. No, we reached out.
This is how I knew. I realized, because I was trying to figure out when I got this stuff, I was trying to figure out why, as Troy got bigger, his form was falling apart. Okay. And I started working with this, and I immediately realized, like, his coordination in his running changed as he got, all of a sudden went from a skinny, slim kid to a big guy. Right. And that part changed. So we started using these. So he gets the in sync method to understand it. You can do it with jumping. It's unbelievable. Okay. Here's the other thing I got. They have this at every baseball facility, Ghost Labs, where we've been to for training. And they have this here. This thing is incredible. You ever seen this? This is the it's also it's the TMT Club. This thing, have you seen this?
Yeah. Is that like water?
It's like the sand thing. It's a similar thing. Like
it's sand, yeah.
Yeah, it gives you like the rhythm. And then they have a jump rope. Then they have this like jump rope thing that you don't actually have to jump, and you just move it. It's unbelievable. I use it when I work out. So I don't have I can't jump anymore really the same way. So if I did jump rope, my knee would be shot, right? So I do their thing, and it's unbelievable how the workout you get, how your torso is forced to activate. And so there's all these things, obviously
there's
stuff
so many things. There's so many things.
There's so many
which
things
has now allowed us to kind of freaking, you know what I mean? Like it's allowed us to like open our eyes to new ways of doing things, right? Like these guys used to be the mad scientists, right? Or you've brought this up, like a guy develops something and there's not a tool to measure it, or he can't figure out how to do it, whatever. So they just create their own shit. They build their own thing. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And we go.
There's no doubt. And it's amazing. Listen, I learned from even like the young kids. I was like, I remember all the Gabe Kemp videos of him doing the quick feet stuff. And a lot of people do. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to start doing some of these things. And I'm telling you, it's phenomenal. Like the thing now I think you should only do it in spurts. Like I don't like the elongated version of it, because I think that works against you. That's against the sprint. That because now you're working a different thing, right? But when you're doing it and you're just working on being quick and explosive, like it does become a thing where people get familiar with their feet and ground kind of. But all this stuff is, and it has to be coordinated in a full plan because you're not doing all of it every day. You know what I'm saying?
And this is the other part, though. Like, that's what Coach just referenced, right? Like, his head coach and him have to be in cahoots because you can't have one guy thinking this way. One guy, he talked about getting the assistants to buy in, right? Like, he had to track it that some of these guys weren't doing what they were supposed to be doing, or they didn't believe in it, or whatever. Now, and the best that too was also like, hey, winning kind of covers up everything, right? Because you're a genius when you win everything. But at the same time, like, if you don't have that buy-in across the board, right? Like, if you're not structuring, practice, your week, like your off season, if you're not all on board, right? And now you can kind of dabble, but if they're not a believer, dude, this is, you know what I mean? You got to go all in on it. Which is why I think, that's why Tony talks about it all the time. Like, look, man, I've been doing this for years and I just got popular. You know what I'm saying? Because guys are fearful of doing something this, I guess, what's the word to use? This drastic or this crazy,
it's innovative. You're doing less. You're doing less.
Innovative. That's right. And it's always been the more you do, the better you get. Absolutely. And especially those old school, grind to the ground. And this is what football is and all that other kind of shit, dude. Doing less to them is weakness. Doing this is weakness.
This will make you laugh. I have a couple of assistants and they're great guys and their kids are really good players. That they still, like, I get done with practice and they have them run a lap as fast as they can after practice every day. And I'm like, that's not doing what you think it's going to do, but they want to do it. They do it. You know what I mean? But some of these things are like, some of these things, people have to go their own path to figure out what works for them. And some people, I just say, hey, like, you're not getting what you think you're getting from doing that, because
yes, you're actually getting the opposite of what you're trying to get. Is you're literally limiting them and hurting them in the long run when you think you're actually benefiting. But if you don't see these numbers, you're gonna know that.
Now I don't say anything, and it's your kid, you do whatever you want. I just
Right.
I realized that, like,
never tell anybody how to parent.
No, I would never. I just know, like, I'm like that it doesn't have the same impact that you think it does. You know what I mean? So, and it's not look, it's not having a large negative impact. If it does anything, it maybe has some sort of mental, I would say maybe a mental impact, if anything. Like, I'm tougher because I did this and you didn't, which, you could, I don't know if there's anything to that or not anymore, but I don't think there is. And the reason why I say that, like, I watched, my son's first basketball game, and I was worried about it because when I'm watching at X school them do suicides, he's exhausted after them, and he's exhausted, and I'm like, is he I'm curious to see in his first basketball game if he's tired, and because obviously, he's just kind of coming off football. Well, he told me, he said, listen, there were times that I'm tired because I'm not in basketball game shape yet. It's not that I'm not, I didn't feel like I wasn't.
I get that. I totally understand that.
I haven't played basketball, like, where you're moving back and forth like that over and over again. And we have a lot of guys on our Mid-South team, so, we're able to obviously rotate guys. But I said, when did you feel it? When you didn't, you feel it? I mean, yeah, like, but the point of it all was, I mean, he came out and he scored a lot of points early on, and the team exploded early on, and they had a huge lead, and none of that stuff mattered after that point. Anyway, because they were so explosive. They were all so explosive, and the majority of them are football players. Okay, so almost all of them were obviously not doing any level of quote unquote conditioning. At least if they're in my program, they didn't. And they're all explosive kids, right? So to me, it's like, okay, but there is something to playing basketball and feeling, okay, the nervous system part of it, where, all right, the stress of playing my position, going back and forth, there is something to that part. And the only way to replicate that to me is playing basketball. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, when you play more games and you play more game-like situations in practice, that's how you start to replicate that part of it. You know what I mean? Like run a fast break instead. I think I remember who said that. One of the guys we had on said instead of doing suicides, run more fast break drills. You know what I mean? To get what you need to get done, because that'll get them better at basketball, and that'll also get them ready for the high pace of a fast break. The nervous system stress, and I think that's the huge thing. Eventually, there's going to be certifications in this area. Like I said, like the only thing I can liken it to is
that's the next step. That's the next step when it comes to it, right? When you're developing this type of stuff, like that's how it is. And then you go and it's like these guys with their offenses, right? Now all of a sudden it's, hey, you can go and get such and such certified or this and it's the same thing with trade. Like when CrossFit was all the rage, right? Like everybody wanted to be, go do CrossFit. I mean, look, do you remember we were growing up? Like, remember the Taibo phase of everybody doing Taibo and all this other kind of, but you remember that shit, dude? It was like a cult. Like all these people like flock into it, and then it gets watered down. I mean, shit, you could see even Peloton was a thing during COVID, was like a mass cult. And now it's kind of, hey, now we got a treadmill. Now we got a, because they've had to branch out and do whatever, but you see these things come with trends and whatnot. But dude, I don't care what it is. I'm willing to try anything that's can make these guys better in any facet. Like, let's go. Why not? What are we talking about?
Absolutely. What sprint-based football allows you to kind of do is, and that kind of is allow you to get track stuff into your training methodology without having to do track per se. Now kids who obviously do track that want to do track, they'll get even more of it because track, there's a different level to it. But now your kid who maybe plays a different sport, doesn't do track, they could get that type of development without having to, that competition like element, without having to run track. You get your timing gates. Now, is it the same thing as racing somebody? It's not quite, but you're still getting a good amount of it. And when you're thinking from a team aspect, now 50 kids of yours are doing this type of training on your team, as opposed to the 5 kids that ran track or 10 kids that ran track. Now you're getting 50 kids there, plus your 5 or 10 kids that are running track, right? So now you're getting a whole team worth of guys getting some element of this. And I think obviously they become better athletes, and you're gonna win more games. The hardest thing for people,
you're gonna be healthier.
You're going to be healthier. You know what the hardest thing for coaches, besides the fact that they can't get past what they learned when they were younger, the hardest thing for them is to look at like these kind of training methodologies and say to themselves, I might be wrong in what I was doing. And
that's the hardest part.
I have to look in the mirror.
Pride. Yep.
And exactly, swallow your pride. And the second part to it is that they'll look at and they'll want to point to someone who buries kids, a lot of times maybe the big parochial schools that have all the studs and that could do that, right? And still get away with it because it's survival literally of the fittest. And they'll say, well, those guys don't do it, and they're ranked 5 in the nation or 10 in the nation. And
well, they got 5 stars on their roster, and you don't, buddy. You don't have a 2. So Jimmy's and Joe's.
Imagine if they did do it, how good they would be. And the teams that,
could you imagine Bergen Catholic, a Don Bosco Prep being like, hey, we're not practicing on the weekends, right? Like this off-season stuff, like this is what we're gonna like to tell those guys to dial it back.
That's not happening. That's not happening. So
mom and dad would be out front of the school with picket signs and pitchforks.
Correct.
Like, I'm paying for my kid to get his ass here.
And
like,
that's
you know what I mean? Like, from my year of experience there doing that, dude, that was the biggest deal, was more. This is not enough. I mean, look, I will be like Bergen week, Bosco Bergen week, buddy. Practice was started, weight room at 2, and we weren't off the field some nights of that week till 7:45. I mean, you're talking straight through, bro, run the gamut, no time left. Like, this is what it is. Like, you know what I mean? And parents, like, are you guys sure you got everything? You know what I mean? Like, don't you need another minutes of whatever? Like, I'm telling you, dude, different types of squirrels.
And I think that's, if you go and look, there are that survival of the fittest part of it. Like, a lot of kids, when they get to the next level, end up getting a lot more injuries and don't pan out. So now the best of the best of the best are so physically able to handle things. Like, it's literally survival of the fittest. They survive it all. But what happens? Look, at college, they're not doing that anymore. College, they are doing it's not feed the cats. Most of them are not doing it. And if you see a place like the Giants, okay, why did Dable get fired? Because he was doing dumb shit with his players. Dumb shit. Not good. If he could have, I'm not saying he would have survived much longer losing, but when you're losing and you have guys getting injured all over the place, okay,
huge problem.
We need to know what's going on there. Okay, we need to know what's going on with what you guys are doing.
Shit.
Yes. So that's it. Look, sometimes there's luck. I get it. Sometimes it's there is luck with obviously in football with to do with some of this stuff.
But it doesn't. You just can't do some of that stuff, bro.
Some of the stuff you end up like, what are they doing? Like living to fight the next battle is an important thing, and football coaches, some of them are learning it the hard way, dude. Look at the way guys are getting fired, man. Like Brian Kelly,
brutal, bro.
Let me tell you something. Okay, you could be as hard ass coach as you want. You can, but if you're not doing things as far as to develop the athlete, then that part goes out the window when things struggle. Like, if you're developing the right way and you're a hard, tough coach, Lane Kiffin is my example of a guy who's balancing that very well. I'm sure he doesn't practice very long. The other guy who definitely bounces the best of all is the Indiana coach. There's no doubt he's a tough guy. Okay, the Indiana coach. He's definitely tough, right? But his practices are an hour and 45 to 2 hours. Okay, he's a big believer in what I don't know what you call his methodology of training, but it's a version of what you see in Feed the Cats, and Ole Miss has a version of that. And they're keeping guys healthier. Guys are making plays, and they're winning games. I'm not saying they're going to win a championship. Okay, I'm saying they're winning.
But they're tracking the right way.
I'm tracking right. I'm sure Ohio State's doing that too. He just doesn't talk about it, right? But TCU was the first to start it, and everybody when TCU lost, and they were really one of the groups starting that. Before everybody, when they lost the national championship, everyone was like, "Oh well, that didn't work." And Georgia had bigger dudes, okay, and probably is doing the same thing. They're just not talking about it. You know what I'm saying? Probably doing the same thing with their guys from a development standpoint. They just have bigger dudes. But that's the whole thing. That's the biggest thing is getting more coaches to understand that there is a better way that, oh, by the way, is going to keep your guys healthier. Like, that's a big deal. Keeping them healthier. Like, dude, not that I can't have concussions next year. I didn't have one concussion this year. Not one.
Knock on wood.
Not one. Not one. Okay. Any injuries that they had, like if there was like an ankle, it was minor, a day out, maybe. You know what I'm saying? The biggest issue we had was the kids who had Severs being on the field. We had Troy and a couple of the other guys. And you know what we did? We had them wear sneakers in practice. And by the way, that enabled those guys to play all year long. They wore sneakers. Dude, everyone would be like, I had to pull my team in because some kids were trying to make fun of the kids that had to wear sneakers. And I'm like, dude, are we not a team? Are we not here to make the team the best that we can? I don't care if they got to be barefoot or whatever it is. Whatever helps them get healthy is the most important thing. Like, get that out of your head. Get that stuff out.
Right.
Get this silly stuff out of your head.
And take all your bullshit too. You know what I mean? And like, you know what I mean? Like, we don't need any of that shit.
No, because that like, and that's the whole thing, because people don't understand that there's a difference between coaching and expectations of what you want them to play when you're coaching them hard and maybe you get upset about something or someone isn't listening, and then how you approach the development aspect, right? There's two things in there.
Big difference.
There's development, and then there's coaching you because you need to be accountable, right? And the development aspect is all about taking care of you, getting you better, taking care of you, making sure you're healthy, making sure you improve. The coaching aspect is do your job, fix the things that you're supposed to fix from a technique standpoint, make sure you know what your job is, execute your job, and you're accountable for that. And those are two things, and they worked at great teams.
And those are the things you can control.
Great teams have, and that's why I do like when I hear like some of these guys now. My job, I'm the linebacker coach, but my job, what Coach you said, is to kind of see that development side while Coach is in the midst of coaching, right? Like he's in the midst of getting them to be a better team, a better football team, and I'm here to make sure Johnny needs to be stretched over here. Even though I'm coaching linebackers, does Johnny need to be stretched? Do I have to back off this kid? Does he need to? Did he sprint today? Should he not sprint today? Like, I think those two things coexisting in the right way with football coaches and their guys with them, that's how your team becomes really good in the long run, because you got that balance, like somebody that can talk to the head coach and say, hey, you know what? We went 2 hours and 15 minutes, and that might be a little much for them. Let's back off tomorrow. Let's go an hour and 45. You know, let's taper off some of this stuff. Let's not wear shoulder pad. I don't know, whatever it is. You know, let's not hit today. And I think that is I think the more that happens at high school football, and the better off the programs are going to be, because you have and obviously you need a guy you trust, right? Like guys need a guy they can trust. You know, when they have that guy, then they could do all those kind of things, and you could have that conversation, you know. And I think part of it too is like some of the head football coaches just live too much paranoid. Like they live too paranoid. Like
100%. They're so nervous, dude. But also, like, everybody doesn't get fired.
You kind of have to. You could be paranoid about the football aspect. I get it. You know what I mean? I get that part. Obviously, I've been there. Yeah. But no, at the same time, know that the development aspect has to get done. You got to be
Absolutely.
able to. You can't
like
let
that at the bare minimum. That should be right. You can't let that falter or whatever going forward. Like, because that needs to be the main focus. Like, you have to develop. You have to get better. Period. Like that has to be in the forefront.
Absolutely, and I think that's the key. But anyway, I'll let you go if you want anything you want to add before we take off.
We're good. I'll book something else with him so that we can get that. You know what I mean? Because obviously, like, we want to get talking to him more. So we'll put something on the books.
Cool. Tomorrow we have nothing, right?
Man.
It's not till next
nothing
week.
Tomorrow. Nothing tomorrow. Next week. Next week we're Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, all 10 a.m. for Tuesday, Wednesday. Yeah, so we're like next week.
Perfect. All right, man. Good
All right,
show.
man. Sounds good. See you,
Made it
buddy.
work.